Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the living world. That is the first chapter of our NCERT. So let's begin. Here we are going to discuss about what is living. So what is living? We all know that the life or the life form or the organism in which we can find the characteristics like growth, metabolism, reproduction, movement, and most importantly the cell, and as well as the protoplasm inside the cell. The cellular structure is most important characteristic of any living body. In any particle where we can find the cellular structure, that particle we can consider as a living organism or the living body. So this is the definition, or we can say physical definition of the living organism or the living body. Now, what are the basic characteristics of the living? While defining the living cell or the living body, we often found that these are the terms like growth, then reproduction, metabolism, then your consciousness, everything. These are the terms which we use to define a cellular or the living structure. So, let us first discuss about growth. Among all of these characters, about two of the characters, there are little bit of confusion that whether we can say these are the defining characters of the living organism or not. First character is the growth. Growth means when there will be the increase in the cell, increase in the cell number, or they can the mass of the cellular mass also can be increased. That property is considered as the growth. Now, in case of plants, we know that plants show indefinite growth throughout their lifetime. But in case of animal cells, we can see that there are definite period of time up to which the growth will occur, and after that the growth will be stopped. Cell division, the growth can occur by cell division. Increase in the cell number can occur by the help of cell division. And whenever there is not at all any growth throughout the life of the individual, in that case what will happen? In case of animals, their mass will be increased, though the cell number will not be increased, but cell mass will be definitely increased. So this is the characteristic of the living. But in case of non-living part like mountains, sand dunes, rock particles, in all of that cases, let us take the example of mountain, or this is also often found in the sand dunes. In all of these cases, what happens after for a longer period of time, there are deposition of rock particles, sand particles from the outside environment towards it. So that kind of deposition also can lead to the growth of the mountains for several years of time. So in that case, the growth has a particular term that is considered as accretion. This is also very important, that accretion means the growth of the non-living object. So this is nothing but the growth of the non-living object. So as we can see that growth is seen in both living and non-living object. That is why we cannot say that growth is the defining characteristic of the living property or the living organism. Similarly, in case of reproduction also, reproduction is the second character where we got confused, that whether we can say this reproduction as a defining property of living organism or not. In this case also, we get little bit of confused. Where is the confusion? We know that reproduction, there are different modes of reproduction like asexual mode. Sexual modes of reproduction are there. Sexual mode of reproduction is seen in case of human being, in case of so many animals, in case of angiospermic plants. But in case of few other plant groups and few other lower group of organisms, we can see the sexual type of reproduction. But apart from the sexual and asexual type of reproduction, this is the story where we can find the reproduction process. But there are several animals, there are few animals like mule is one of the example where we cannot find reproduction. Though mule is a living object, mule is a living animal, but we cannot find any kind of reproduction process in it. Why so? Because let us find the reason behind it, that why the mule cannot reproduce though it is a living animal. Because mule is the cross between two species. So it is the result of interspecific hybridization. It is very important. Interspecific hybridization means in between two different species, when there will be the hybridization or the crossing will occur, due to that reason the mule will be produced. So what are the two species? One is the donkey and another one is the horse. So between donkey and horse, these two are different species. These two are completely different. Crossing between donkey and horse will occur, that will give rise to mule, and that is why it is sterile. It cannot give birth because it has different kind of chromosome number. As this is having different kind of chromosome number, that is why it cannot reproduce properly. That is why it is sterile. So we cannot say that 100% of the living organism can reproduce. Similarly, another kind of example is worker bee. In case of honeybees, there are several sections. So worker bee also cannot reproduce. Reproduction is also absent in case of worker bee. Why so? Because in case of worker bees, they do not have that capacity to produce the egg. So reproduction which will occur due to the presence of the egg apparatus, that is completely absent in this case. That is why worker bees are unable to do the reproduction process. Though they are living body, they cannot reproduce. Another type of example is there, that is sterile, or we can say infertile. We can use this language like infertile human being. The infertile human beings are also there. Due to different reasons, there are infertility in case of female, in case of male. So due to different reasons, those infertility can come. But these are the reasons, these are the examples where we cannot find any kind of reproduction process. They cannot reproduce at all. Now reproduction is the process, is one of the main process of being a living organism to produce its own self, that is the own progeny. When we will do some activity, we require some energy. We will expend that energy. After that we can do some activity. Similarly, inside our body there is the cell, and cell also needs some energy to do any sort of activity. Let us here take one example of plant cell. We all know that plant will do photosynthesis to make their own food. So to do that photosynthesis, it requires some sort of energy. From where it will get that energy? Without expending that energy, it cannot do the activity. So as by the process of photosynthesis, it is making the glucose by expending some energy. So what will happen in this case? The dry weight of the plant will be increased. So let me just write it down here so it will be easy. Photosynthesis is the process where gaining of weight is occurring in case of plant body, because photosynthesis will result in the production of glucose. Production of glucose will occur in case of photosynthesis. That is why weight will be gained. The plant's weight will be gained. Dry weight will be gained. So this process has one term that is called anabolism. So in this case, in the whole scenario, we can find that some chemical substances are making up. So making up of the chemical substances are occurring by the process of anabolism, and sometimes the breakdown of the substances are also occurring to get the energy, to produce the energy. So respiration is such a process. where breakdown of glucose will occur. So respiration is the process where breakdown of glucose is occurring so that the ATP can be produced, the energy can be produced. So breakdown of glucose will occur as the breakdown of the substance is occurring. So in this case, what will happen? The dry weight of the plant will be decreased. Dry weight of the plant will be decreased in this case. And here in this entire scenario, we can find that breakdown of the substances happening. Here the production of the substances were happening, and in this case, breakdown of the substances are happening. So that is why this process is considered as catabolism. So in this way, two types of procedures are there of metabolism, which are found in case of animal cells or living objects. One is anabolism, one is catabolism, and all together these two processes are considered as metabolism. That is why the term sum total was used. That sum total of all the biochemical reactions, biochemical activity which is occurring inside the cell, that is considered as the metabolism. So these three are the main characteristics. Now few of the chemical reactions can occur outside the cell, but that is not the cellular environment. That can occur inside the test tube, inside the artificial environment, but that is not inside any kind of cellular environment, and properly those reactions cannot be happen. Okay, so that is why we can consider metabolism as the defining property of the animal as well as the living cells. Now, not only the metabolism, there are a few other characteristics like consciousness is there, then excretion is there, digestion, locomotion, each and everything. These are the characteristics of the living objects which are absolutely absent in case of non-living object, as well as the presence of cellular apparatus, which is very important, because whether it is the story of unicellular organism, multicellular, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, whatever organism, plant cell, animal body, whatever body it is, whatever organism it is, each and every organism is made up of cell. So that is why presence of cellular apparatus is also one of the main important feature of the living object. So by writing down all of these points all together, you can make a note that how to differentiate between the living and non-living. We cannot consider them as the defining property of the living object. Except these two, rest of the characteristics we can say them as the living object. So if you found this video helpful, then do like, share and subscribe to my channel.